Call this meeting to order, special meeting of the City Commission. Here, Wednesday, August the 10th, 2016, approximately 6:08 p.m. Here, Commission Chambers, 5332 East US Highway 83, Suite A, here in Rio Grande City, Texas. At this time, we can have the invocation by Commissioner Garza, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to Commissioner Ramirez.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to get together today. We thank you for all the good things that you brought to Rio Grande. We ask that you continue guiding us and showing us the way and the best way to do things here for our community. We ask that you guide us today in making decisions for Rio Grande, and we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
With allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
Ms. Guerrero, you have a roll call and finding a quorum, please.
Yes, sir. Mayor Villarreal,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Garza,
Here.
Commissioner Salinas is absent, Commissioner Rodriguez,
Here.
Commissioner Jones,
Here.
Mayor Holmes.
Thank you. Next business and orders item 3, discussion and possible action to review and approve the plans and specifications for TDA contract number 7215419 street paving project. Ms. Baez?
Mayor and Commissioners, this is a grant that's awarded by the Texas Department of Agriculture. It is a biennial funding. It has been less in the amount of money that is funded. It used to be $800,000. Some of you might remember that. But it's still money. It is a 100% grant. We do have Ms. Lisette Peña, who is administering the project, and of course the engineer, Mr. Gilbert Guerra with Rio Delta. You also have the plans with you. It calls for 3 streets that are not paved at all, and they will be paved 100%. I will call on Lisette the reason why this item had to be in today, and then of course on Mr. Guerra to give more detail on the construction. Go ahead, Lisette.
Commissioners, one of the reasons that we had to make a special meeting for approval of the plans was we have to obligate the funds for this grant before October. So once we approve the plans, Mr. Gilbert and myself can start advertising for the bids. So we can start getting the bids, and then we'll hopefully open bids next month. So that means that we'll probably have the contract closing September and obligate the funds for the project. So we won't lose on that money.
And also to allow us to move forward for the new application.
Exactly, so we can be in compliance with this project and we can apply for the new application.
And just to reiterate the point, which are the streets, again, once more for the public to know which streets?
It's Lucian Lane, Moreland Drive, and Gavilan Street.
Gavilan is in the area of El Arroyo. Lucian Lane is San Rafael subdivision behind Roque Guerra, Villa Vallarta assisted housing. And Moreland is off of Chaco Blanco. And,
What are we doing to Gavilan Street? Repaving it or?
We're gonna pay, when it was initially paved the first time, there's a piece that was not paved. So we're paving from Bluebird, where it starts, all the way till the end.
Yeah, because I was there today and I thought it was paved.
There's that section to the west that we're gonna pay. No.
Very good.
These streets have never been paved. And I know during the bond paving process, people who lived in Gavilan kept asking, well, why not us? The reason is the bond paving was for overlay of streets, and this is for brand new construction.
So it's Caliche right first?
Caliche,
Are
Yes.
we going to just paving, no curb and gutter, because the rest of the street doesn't have curb and gutter?
Now, that street is quite narrow, and I know within the plans, and Gilbert can elaborate to the specifications on each street.
We're talking about
Gavilan Street.
the right of way is narrow. There, Mr. Garza, but we're gonna put in as wide as we can, which is actually a 19-foot edge to edge. And we're putting in a little, I guess, if you will, a rollover curb just to protect the edges. So we have enough room to do that.
A low curb,
Yeah. Because the street is actually pretty flat.
laid down.
Yeah.
Lay
What's,
down.
what is it, how much are we paying, what's,
They're about 325 feet
300, on all three?
on Gavilan.
It's on the west side or east side?
East.
On Gavilan.
We're going to the west.
To the
It's from,
Papa Blanca.
yeah, from Bluebird Lane, that's where the pavement ended for the last. We're going west as far as we can, within that right of way.
Okay, I didn't go that far.
It's just 300 feet, and then it narrowed down to almost just a driveway, like 12 feet. We
Yeah.
can't pave in there, so.
Okay.
And so we're projecting more or less starting construction, what would you say as far as, just the projection date, not
I
the,
projected over.
by
Yeah,
October?
we could,
They have 15 days after we award the contract to start construction.
Okay. Great, so we're looking at 3 streets, and the price tag is gonna be how much, Bess?
Well, we haven't gone out for bids, the engineer's estimate would be, a little less than the 200 and some thousand that we have in the budget.
I don't remember the number offhand
No,
there.
just,
Our budget granted us by TDA is 304,000.
304.
304,000.
And what about Lucian and Marlin?
Lucian,
Do
we
those
got-
have laid back curve also, or
We're doing a full curve there.
full curve?
Yes, sir.
Lucian Lane will require some drainage, if you're familiar with the terrain.
Yeah,
It
it's
comes
kinda-
off of Jackson into Martinez and Arredondo. The low area being, Martinez Street. So
Yeah.
from those 2 areas they'll converge and then move down Martinez all the way to Fairview where you have that drainage area next to,
It goes downhill. On Moreland Street, we're actually putting in some inlets, because if you look at on the plans, in the middle of the street, it's about 500 and some feet that we're paving, but there's actually a dip in the middle. So in order to get water out, it's actually, I don't know, 3 of 8. Page 3 of 8. If you look at the profile, at the top of the page there, where it shows the pipe on the profile, you can see the dip. So we're gonna put inlets there and then pipe it around the corner and down, Chaco Blanco till we get to an elevation to where it'll bubble up, so we can have, so it's gonna go in there, and the top of the inlet that we put downstream will be 6 inches lower than what we put in there, and it'll bubble up there and get out. What we'll do with the inlets is we'll put 18 inches of gravel on the bottom, so whatever's left in the pipe seeps out slowly. But at least we'll be able to take that water out, because since we're paving and putting in curb and gutter, we'll be concentrating water into that low spot right in the middle of the street. So,
yeah, it'll
That's what
capture
we
it
do.
and then channel it to
Yeah.
Chaco Blanco, thereby, you know,
How many residents are there on Marlin?
on Moreland,
On Moreland, there's about 14, Mr. Garza.
14?
It's a total of 127 homes that are gonna be.
Yeah, it's kinda hidden, you know, if you don't pay attention to it, it's kinda hidden off of Chaco Blanco, but
Chaco Blanco.
yeah, it's never been paid.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah, okay.
So on these streets, is there any, I guess, potential for speeders out there? And if so, do we do something now to address that issue?
for what now? Mayor?
People that
speeding.
speed or anything? I mean, do you see any
You know,
potential for that?
residential, they're not arterial in any
Yeah.
manner, they're
So-
just in residential streets. I did.
Marlin's a dead end, the other one is it's a curve.
Yeah.
Blocks.
And it's on the north end of that subdivision, there's just one other street that goes up, so it's only residents that go through, it's not like it's a
So then we
throughway. They would have to go out of the way to go down that street.
Well, and the reason I'm asking is in case that, you know, if we were to foresee that, can we do something about it now since we're in the process of constructing versus having to come back later and adding some type of,
Well,
just something to consider as we're,
Like an equalizer.
well, I mean, if we need to. If not, then, is there potential for that? And I'm thinking more addressing the issue now than down the road, coming back and saying, hey, there's, And I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but if there's any potential of it, can we address it now?
Can we install a couple of valley gutters on there like the ones we made on the Ranchita?
It's got natural slopes.
To slow downs for speed? Is that what you're talking
Well, if
about?
there's a
Rather than a
potential for it.
speed bump, valley gutters? Sure. And we have pricing for 3-foot, there'll be pricing for 3-foot valley gutters by unit, by linear feet in the contract, because we are putting in valley gutters where we're tying into Martinez and where we're tying in at Ramirez. And we're putting a valley gutter at Moreland where we're tying into Chaco. So there'll be a line item there for valley gutters, so where if we find that we have enough funding after we award the contract, we can always change order some
Well,
valley
if there's a
gutters in.
need, if there's not a need, then fine. I'm just looking at it from a perspective of if we can plan for it now, if we have to, since we're in the process of that constructing phase.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea, Mayor, especially if you have children out there playing, I think it's always good to have those precautions. Because
There's not many street, or many houses facing Lucian right now. There's maybe 3 or 4.
But there's no, yeah, but there will be recent, we just had the confirmation that a certain number of acres were purchased in that area, so we feel that it will be developed in the near
so
future.
they need to pay it, they're gonna come.
So there is room to put the equalizers, Mayor, but like the engineer just mentioned, it would be good to do it after the bids come in, because of the time constraints that we need to move forward on
Okay.
this. So we can move on that. Also, we will be taking advantage that the streets will be, cut open and be putting in fire hydrants. There are no fire hydrants in this subdivision.
We're also extending the sewer there it's not on Martinez, it's the street up to the north.
Jackson,
At Jackson, there's an existing, the sewer line ends there. We're gonna go ahead and extend a line across the street so that we don't have to come back and cut the street open later to make a connection, knowing that there's still vacant land on the north side that might at some point be developed. We'll include that in here. So we're trying to pre-plan as much as we can.
Right, and that's the forward thinking now to address those needs as opposed to having to come back and, all right.
this subdivision was developed, I think, in the late 50s, early 60s. So at that time, there were no model rules, no subdivision regs. It was well planned though, with the width of the streets and
Yes.
alleys and all that.
Good. Anything else on?
Any other
I do
questions?
want to commend Ms. Licia Peña. This is an agency that is very tough in the way that they want certain things. So she has done well, and hopefully we can continue to have better relationship with this agency. So.
Well, thank you, Ms. Peña, for taking on this challenge. It's always great when you have staff members that are willing to take challenges outside the scope of their title, like, per se, but thank you, and thank you for recognizing her, Ms. Beas. I know in visiting with you, you've had a lot of, let's say, a lot of work on this project, so again, thank you for making that look easy.
Mr. Mayor, I make the motion that we approve the plans and specifications for TDA contract number 7215419 street paving project.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Garza.
Also,
We have a second by Commissioner Ramirez. Any further discussion? Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye opposed? Motion carries. Next is adjournment. Do I have a,
Mayor,
Well,
if I
okay,
may,
go ahead.
before we adjourn and go on our ways, I do want to recognize Mr. Rios, who is here. He's gone out on his own, like he says. I didn't know what I was doing, but it turned out that I do. And he would like to present an award for Mr. Rios, if he would like to come up.
Mr. Rios?
He's been successful in some number of films in the local area. I know we have assisted him in making available some of our sites, and we will continue to do that as he brings recognition to our city. It is a special genre of movies that he produces, but I think it touches a lot of people.
Mr. Rios?
Really want to
have Rhino Productions. It's my company, which I produced. I wrote and I produced Spillover, which is already been presented to 8 festivals, and I still have a lot more to present. Hopefully, I get accepted to a few, and it's in reference to the undocumented immigrants who come over to the United States and their struggles and all. And it's and we just started our new production called Flaca, which is in reference to the drug awareness. It's a foreign film, but it's in reference to drug awareness of the synthetic drugs. And really, the city of Rio Grande City is my hometown, so I really want to present this to you guys. So.
Well, I think that you're the one that should be congratulated. I think that you're doing a great job.
Thank
Can we
you.
have a photo of him?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
congratulations, man. Congratulations, good job.
Thank you, Mr. Rios.
Congratulations. Maybe
Thank you,
do,
sir, once again.
One of the
No,
units.
No, thank you.
Appreciate
No,
it.
thank you for all your help.
Take a photo down here. They just said it to me. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Just so you know, sir, he's gonna be using one of our units, please.
Oh, very good.
The actors are all over the place, or Spillover, I hired 3 actors from Hollywood. I hired Jorge Jimenez from Naples. He's one of the main actors there. Oscar Gutierrez, he's a local, but he came out of Stir Park. And another Mexican actor from Tijuana, Eduardo.
Commissioner, you can have a few
If you're ever open for audition, buddy, ya sabes.
Yeah, Leo, if you need somebody to run for the border,
Hey, I don't think they'll catch him there. I don't think they'll catch him there. Sir, I seriously tell you.
Go by my director, my camera guy.
they know Hall of Famers bring their deal.
That's good to know. See, locally, you can always,
El casting?
anything can help you with, or like an
Appreciate it.
internship, whatever it is,
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rios. And again,
And again, thank you.
Estamos.
And Elisa, thank you very much.
Good luck.
and just on behalf of our city, sir, thank you for certainly
Yeah, no,
giving the
I-
credits to Rio Grande City as well. So we'll be out in the
As
Hollywood
soon as I
scenes.
get the letters of acceptance to whatever, I'll let you know. So
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
No, thank you, sir, again.
Oye, Leo, al último en los créditos.
Hey, he wants a part 2, sir. All right, he wants to come out.
You need a body runner.
Now you
Thank-
can adjourn.
Thank you very much once more. This time, any other comments? Or it's great to have the talent here, Mr. Rios, along with getting recognized, and wish you well in your plenty of awards to come. So fantastic, sir. Again, thank you so much for representing us well.
And this city's full of talent, sir.
Yes, we do. We do. Rio Grande City and surrounding communities, we certainly have, and it's great to recognize that talent when we do have it. And at some point, we can have some type of premiere, sir. Well, more than happy to address that at the point that becomes.
And that, I'm just waiting for Sundance, if I get accepted or not.
Okay.
And as soon as I know that, I would love to have a premiere in the Rio Grande City.
See what we can do to help you with that, sir. Because again, representing local talent, by all means, something that we can certainly vouch for. This time, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So, Mayor.
Have a motion to adjourn by Commissioner Ramirez. Have a second, Commissioner Jones Hernan, Commissioner Garza. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye opposed. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned. It is approximately 6:28 p.m.